So what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is the Ryan here.
Hey everyone, Razbowski here.
What's going on, guys? Dorko here.
And welcome back, guys, to another episode of Theory Thursday, where in this one we're going to be talking about, of course, the leaked Ballora voice, and, of course, the cancellation, apparently, of course, the sister location. We're going to jump straight into this one, guys, and it's going to be a great discussion. So the first topic we're going to be discussing, guys, is the initial thoughts on Ballora's voice, because this is literally the first time we've had proper voice acting, apart from, of course, the phone guy in a FNAF game. I mean, these animatronics are physically speaking, and it's kind of strange, but guys, what do you reckon?
Can I just say, the woman who actually voices over Ballora, her name is Mashala Moss, but she really needs to get into ASMR videos after this Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, because it's her voice is very soothing, and that is terrifying alone, because it's like, you shouldn't be relaxed in the situation that you're in. And I think that is what's going to create such tension in this game. Obviously, it's a ballerina, it's meant to make you feel good, but oh god, it's going to be horrible.
It is gonna be. It's the type of voice that has so much power over it without screaming or shouting. Like, you've all heard my videos. I shout and scream. That's how I get my power. But there's like, it's so calm. I think that's the main thing here. The voice is gonna be so calm. It's got control about it. And if you look in detail of each line by line, which I'm sure we're gonna go to in a second, it gives you a nice picture. It even gives her character and personality all within these few lines that we've got already. There's so much to talk about. But it's gonna be creepy as hell. Imagine sitting there in the office and you can hear this just echoing around the place, because if it's going to be a large, quiet, abandoned factory, this is going to echo and it's going to sound incredible.
A voice is kind of like hypnotizing to me. Like Ryan said, it's really soothing and it fits the character well, which makes me even more excited for the other voice actors for the other animatronics, what personality traits they will as well. What they will have, because I can imagine Funtime Freddy being like proper like loopy and like kind of like Patrick Star from SpongeBob for me. So I'm really excited for what Scott does with the voices. How it brings out the personality of the animatronics, because we don't really get a personality from the animatronics in the past, because I think voices would fit well to bring that out. Yeah,
it's like, you know, we look at these animatronics and all we know them as is something to avoid. It's like we don't have a chance to make a physical connection. I think the fact that Scott's actually giving these guys a voice, I mean, for all we know, this is like, it opens up so many possibilities now, because it's not just a phone call now who's going to be feeding us the information. There could be contrasts. Maybe phone guy, if there is going to even be one, tells us one thing. These animatronics were here telling us another thing. It might actually advance in the story. And another interesting thing going off of the fact how they might impact the story means that they probably have some kind of conscience. It's not just like an AI. Like, when you listen to the way this kind of thing speaks and what it says, it's very like a rhythmic, poetic, flowing thing. But then at the end, you have this thing where it's like, it kind of breaks. It's like, is someone there, meaning it's aware of the now itself, and also everything around it, and the fact that there's going to be other people walking around this place. So whether this is a soul, whether it's an AI, we don't really know yet, so it's a bit hard to judge, but it's just interesting to know these guys have more of a physical conscious rather than just like servers knowing to walk around and things like that.
Just going off your point there, Ryan, how you were talking about how they might have a conscience there. It's 2 points, actually. Just come up with another one. Well, the first one is, we've never heard from the animatronics, have we? We've always heard from the phone guy or from visuals through the Purple Man, what happens going on there. We've never seen, apart from the lines in the trailer, you don't know what we've been through. We've already discussed this, and it's going to be great when we hear the other animatronics, because we're going to get so much more of a story. It's always been fairly one-sided so far, hasn't it? We've never heard from the victims or the murdered children or what these animatronics are. So we're going to discover their pain, how they got into this situation, what's happened since then. They might even be able to tell us exactly how they were brought back to life and what they've been doing since. If they've just been trapped in a factory for all these years, think how bored you would be. You'd be going insane. And this might be reflected in each one of their personalities. We've already seen, we've got these lines for Ballora. She sounds very graceful, poetic, as you would imagine a ballerina to be, but take that into contrast with what we suspect to be Ennard, who is torn apart. He looks a little bit more crazy, so we can perhaps see that in his animations and voice. Maybe he's a little bit more jittery, and his words are more broken up and maybe more dark and distorted. And the second point is, if I remember correctly, in one of the phone calls, forgive me, it was probably Five Nights at Freddy's 3, because we got more background information on them, but maybe it wasn't. But there was calls to do with the animatronics when they heard noise, they would go towards someone, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Whenever they
Yes.
heard noise, the animatronics would go over across to the children. I don't
Yeah.
know if this was in the original Fredbear's Diner or if it was somewhere else. I really can't remember where it was. But they would hear the noise and they would go to that spot because they would assume that there was people there to entertain or to serve, what have you. So maybe when she's hearing somebody, maybe that's about to set off a cue for her to go and do another performance action or a set action that her programming has dictated her to do. It's just the way she says it. It sounds more like consciousness to me, but I thought we'd add that bad boy in there.
I like the point what Raz said about the one-sided story, because that's true. We only hear from Phone Guy things what can be complete bull crap. Because the Hyde stuff, they clean carpets and stuff to get rid of any murders or evidence, and they're really like... It could just be all lies. I like the fact that if we do get a Phone Guy or something, he might say stuff like, oh, you're going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. This is a safe place. But then you hear from the animatronics, no, it's not. This is why. Phone Guy's a liar. This is why, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Another thing I'm just going to throw in there, which might have some relevance or might not, just to get you guys thinking as well. Do you remember in FNAF 1 we used to hear that random song that sounded what everyone said was from a circus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just going to say that. I'm not going to say anything else. I wonder what that means. We don't really know. That might need some further research, but...
Yeah. We talked.
That's interesting.
We talked about this before, didn't we? How from old locations there's some circus-inspired things.
Yep.
Because they used the old bits and pieces from the old establishments to furnish the new establishments. Well, they used the animatronics for one, so why wouldn't they use the carousel that we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So we've kind of already touched on this, but we're going to be discussing how the voices of these new animatronics are going to affect the gameplay. We kind of touched on how we're going to get more of the backstory with the animatronics. It's not just going to be a one-sided affair anymore, but how will this affect us when we're actually playing the game? No story, just playing the game. What do you think, boys?
I definitely think it will make it more creepy. If you remember in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, when Freddy just laughed when he moved, that was scary. That was already scary, and it made it more tense. So wouldn't it be awesome, like if you're just roaming around the office or around the location distantly, right? You hear someone speaking really afar, but then suddenly it gets really close, maybe like an ear whisper.
Oh,
how
God.
scary would that be?
Yeah.
Like, and you just turn around and it's there and it jump scares you or something.
Yeah, that reminds
would be
me
terrifying.
That reminds me of the flipping 3D barber shop that used to go around.
Yes!
With the
That'd be
headphones.
amazing if he actually used 3D sounds to go, oh my goodness. But like, I was just thinking, like, if the jump scares will have dialogue as well in them, rather than just screaming at you, maybe they'll scream something at you, like Rides with Strangers, with like, you dirty heretic!
Yeah.
But, I don't know, just screaming something at you really random, that would be pretty cool.
Well, you got to think, actually, like, because in FNAF 4, he did the running thing. That used 3D sound, and Nix would know which way Fredbear was coming from. As well, I think what's interesting for me in this one is the fact that this big block of text is like nearly a minute long of spoken dialogue. It's unlike the other sound effects in the other game files where they're like 4 or 5 seconds long. So 48 seconds. It feels like this leads up to maybe a cutscene. So this might mean that we might have cutscenes between each of the nights.
Yes, please.
The other thing that me and other Ryan actually touched on in our video where we analysed this before was we said it might be a case if we go back down in the elevator every night and this is when we hear this.
Yeah.
So that acts as like a cutscene. So rather than every time we die we have to hit the same phone call again, it might be a one-time cutscene, then we can just click continue, get straight back into the night and get surviving rather than having to listen to a phone call or something like that again.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it could also be, if Scott wanted to add in replayability, he could just add in a different log or a different animatronic making noise before every night or after every night or wherever this cutscene will actually take place. We get more story, like we had to die so many times in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 to get each of the different death mini-games, which actually helped us piece together more of the story than any other game had, and that was dying, which was a great touch. It gave us a bonus for dying, so it might work the same way there, but overall gameplay, it's going to be creepy as hell. As you said before, we heard the clunking of animatronics moving, or Foxy running down the hall, clanking of the vents. What's scarier than that? Something you can actually interact with. Humans are dangerously scary, but add in the fact that we've got like animatronics which are more powerful than humans that potentially have some sort of sentience because they have got the souls trapped inside them, so they're these big powerful beasts that we have no defense against except just to hide. So hearing them crawling along the vent, or their voice echoing along the vent, or it depends, maybe you're moving from location to location every night, so it's slightly different. We've seen so many rooms, we don't know if we actually have access to them every single night. night, or maybe as the nights go on, you've got one room, second night you've got 2 rooms, third night you've got 3 rooms, and we do hear Ballora in the third night, for instance, and we are now able to walk about where she is. If we're able to run from one side of the room to the other side of the room, do it at the wrong time, because she can obviously hear us, which is a point. She doesn't say anything about seeing. She can hear us because her eyes are closed. If we do it at the wrong time, then she's gonna get us. If we somehow manage to hide halfway or something, and then she's like, what was that noise? Metal Gear Solid style. And then you hide and we can get past her safely. I think with this, maybe it's given us some kind of mechanics for her, that she's going to be sound-based. And getting back to Five Nights at Freddy's 4, we had footsteps when we moved from one side of the room to the other. So I think we might be able to click on certain points of Ballora's room, and if we make a noise, then she's going to get us. We already know that each animatronic has their set mechanics. So hers sounds to me like it's going to be ear-based. It's hearing-based.
One quick point as well, like you said about randomised clips of voices, there could be Easter egg voices as well.
Exactly what I was going to say,
rare chances of getting a clip about something.
I think Scott's realised that maybe just giving us the 8-bit mini-games, the community gets so divided amongst these that we never, ever come to a conclusive answer. So giving us a verbal version of an Easter egg, it's one way it's being told to us. Like, we're going to piece together more of this than just speculate for years and never come to a conclusion because people think it might be 83, 87, for an example. You guys, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. Just from saying those 2 numbers, I think, definitely the vocals spoken will have a big impact in the Easter eggs and just the depiction that everyone in the FNAF community will be able to derive from it, hopefully.
I think all in all, to be fair, like, the dialogue is just going to add something else to a Five Nights at Freddy's game. I mean, it's scary enough without voices, but with these horribly soothing, nice voices coming in, it's going to be absolutely intense and terrifying.
Hopefully you guys now know that the Scott's latest teaser is a troll. Surely you do. If you brighten it up, you get some lore information about this sister location. Now, it says cancelled due to leaks, but that's actually an abbreviation of gas leak. So Baby's Pizza World was shut down due to some gas leaks, but during the night time, someone saw a group of people taking parts from that location and moving it to somewhere else. So what do you guys think about that?
I'm not going to speculate too much on this because this is going to be saved for next week's, but what I want to say is a potential game mechanic which can come of this, which I think would work extremely well if done right. So we know that these guys aren't in the Circus Baby's Pizza World. It seems like they're going to be in a warehouse. We've been saying this from day one. This place does not look like an establishment. We go down, it's 2 metallic things like that, some kind of testing mechanic facility, probably owned by Afton or some relation to Afton. So what I was thinking was, because we're a technician working there, and it still says at the bottom that these guys could be rented out to like parties and things like that. What about if, say, from night 4 to 5, one of these animatronics gets rented out overnight? One night Baby's all clean, the next night she comes back and she's covered in blood. Like, that could be a really good mechanic to the game, I think.
I don't know what to say. I think people got a little bit hurt when they saw this cancelled due to leaks thing, but this is the thing, right? Like, the FNAF community are so good into diving into things, brightening up the images, looking into the source code. As soon as, like, it says cancelled, no one decides to brighten it up and goes, well, that's it then, lad. Sorry. That's it. FNAF is over. That's it. But
why would it end? Like, seriously, how could Scott end this? He's not that stupid.
No.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
I know a lot of people are new, and Scott's getting new fans to the franchise every single day, but how many troll stuff has Scott done in the past? Ever since Five Nights at Freddy's 3, he's been trolling us, so that's like a year and a half at this point of trolls he's done, whether it's a troll game or something else. But you're right, it's crazy to think everybody's analysing every single pixel, yet they ignored this one. Just seems a bit... I love you guys. You definitely entertain us. You definitely entertain us. Going back to the text that was already there, there's a debate now, which again we'll save for next week, but a lot of people are thinking this might be the ending of the whole thing. I don't think it is personally. I think it's the start. It's obviously setting up the game, because if it wasn't, the trailer would be showing us in some kind of brand spanking new pizza world. The second thing I want to talk about is it just animatronics under the tarps?
That leads to my idea. In the description, when that got the person who saw this happening, he said that he saw a bunch of kids go into that place.
Yes.
That's what made no sense.
I think, right, those kids who might have died there are possessing these animatronics.
Yep, definitely.
That's good.
I think...
because it makes no sense. Like, it wasn't. It says the establishment wasn't even open yet. Why the heck were kids in there? like, why were kids testing this thing?
Yeah,
adults be doing this? Like,
yeah,
what?
Well, it's just like a peer group or a test group. They bring in the children just to see, because it is aimed at children, isn't it? So they want to get their feedback. Little Jimmy goes in there and says, yeah, I love baby. Little Freddy goes in there and said, Ballora was a bit busty for me. This is where something has happened during this test phase that has led to the events of baby and that being trapped down in this maintenance room or this factory or warehouse or wherever we are. So these kids that have gone in there are potentially, I'd say over 50% likely to be the animatronics that are possessing these animatronics. That was terribly worded, but you know what I mean.
So there we have it, guys. That was a really in-depth discussion about Ballora's voice and a brief over also the newest teaser on scottgames.com. There'll probably be another one by next week as well, which might further the story. And, you know, we're going to let this one sit with us for a while so we don't go speculating on things that maybe if we'd have looked a little bit harder aren't as true as we think. So it's going to be good, guys. And Thursday next week is going to be really, really jam-packed.
Yeah, if you guys did enjoy the show, why not leave a like rating down below? And if you're new to the channel, why not subscribe to all of our channels here? ASMR. What am I doing?
So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. We, of course, hope you did enjoy. And we will, of course, see you on the next one. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye,
See you
guys.
later.
Want to see even more content from us? Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future. And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?